Welcome back, friends. My name is Tony Toon. I'm the great and glorious and beautiful Walrus.
And I am Leanne Palmer. You're very bright and sparkly happy most of the time. Very.
All right, aliens. Take it, Leanne.
Totally! The aliens did it. The
They
aliens did everything.
They did everything.
No, but seriously. So I've been watching this show on the History Channel that really takes a more logical and more scientific look at the alien phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been analyzing the video that was released from A-Tip a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was released through the New York Times. These videos where the Navy has admitted that they are tracking unidentified flying objects.
Mm-hmm.
To mean they don't know what they are. They're not saying that they're aliens, but they're saying they're not ours and we can't identify them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go with that because that actually is a pretty good definition. So there's this group of former government agents or former government employees that used to head government agencies
Mm-hmm.
that were pulled together by the former lead singer for Blink-182. And I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head right now. But the History Channel is following this investigation. And it's a weekly show. And I have found it fairly interesting the way they're going about things. Do I believe there's aliens? There could be. Do I think that Ancient Aliens is correct and the alien guy is right and everything was aliens? Maybe not. But on the flip side, the whole aliens did everything is great publicity.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And Roswell, New Mexico has made an entire tourist industry out of aliens. So let's talk about aliens. What do you think, Tony? Do they exist or not?
Okay. Where to start? The possibility of life out in the universe. Well, I think that's pretty much been proven that there is some form of life, not necessarily sentient life. They found bacteria on Mars. There's that ocean on that moon of Jupiter that they're pretty sure has life in it, like actual creatures.
Right.
Which it's making me think, you go into our oceans, the terrifying creatures that are down in our oceans. What the hell's in that thing?
What's hiding in the Marianas Trench?
Yeah, well, what's hiding in the ocean of fucking on Moon and Jupiter?
Well, there's that too.
Like, what's down there?
And is there a link between the ocean on Jupiter and the Marianas Trench?
Obviously. There's obviously some sort of Stargate down there. Obviously those things, those freaking creepy little freaking fish didn't come from our planet. Hell no. Stuff of freaking nightmares. Anyways. Sentient life. Here is my problem. I've realized the universe is big. Unbelievably. Even our galaxy. It's almost inconceivable to think about how big it is. The problem is, for there to be life, for there to be life, for it to evolve, for it to figure out what's going on around it, for it to be able to manipulate its environment. There are so many things that have to go right. And I'm not even talking, like people say, well, look, it doesn't necessarily have to be a carbon-based life form. I agree. But then what in the hell has to go right for there not to be a carbon-based life form? There are just so many things that have to go right for there to be life, and then even more things for them to go right for life to be sentient.
Right.
So the odds are astronomical.
You're saying no, you don't believe there's aliens out there.
I don't, in all honesty.
Okay.
That said, is it beyond the realm of possibility? No, absolutely not. And even if there were aliens out there, I'm not sure they'd have to have the technology. If they visited the planet, they visited Earth, they'd have to have the interstellar technology. They'd have to be theoretically a much older species than us.
Yeah.
Because
nobody's arguing that point.
Because it would, unless they're just way more intelligent than us, which is possible.
Which is possible too.
For them to be able to figure out some form of interstellar travel to get through, because the way I understand it, Earth, in both Dragon Ball and in real life, we're kind of out of the way. There's that big meteor field, and then there's that gas cloud on the other side of our of Sol, of our system.
Right.
So, just to have the technology to be able to get through that is astronomical. I mean, we're not talking about, between here and the moon. We're talking about a vast open area with gigantic rocks and poisonous gases and corrosive gases.
Right, no, and I totally get what you're saying. And the idea that aliens from another planet are visiting us, like, for real, I don't know. But it's one of those topics that it's fun for me to think about. And I really enjoy, particularly this show is, what's it called? Hold on.
While you're looking that up.
Yeah. Give me a minute to look it up. But I really particularly enjoy, that, and I have enjoyed Ancient Aliens. Yes, I watch Ancient Aliens. I have seen every episode of Ancient Aliens. I actually, at one point, got behind and sat down and binge watched like 13 seasons of Ancient Aliens in like 2 weeks. So yeah, the aliens did it. The aliens did everything.
Yes. I also wanted, because I was actually thinking about this the other day. I think if there are aliens out there, I don't really think there's a possibility for invasion. At least not in the conventional sense. Here's why. And people sit there and they say, well, they would obviously have far superior technology, and that's true. But then you got to consider a couple things. One, they'd have to get to the planet. Two, the only way I could see an invasion working is if it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers or something like that. It's a subversive type of invasion. Because, okay, for a conventional invasion, you'd need ships, you need armies, you need to supply the armies, you need ships capable of carrying supplies. You're talking of a planetary invasion. You're talking about a fleet that's almost inconceivable to invade any planet.
Right, and you're right. And so, while you were talking about that, I did some Google foo. The name of the show I've been watching is Unidentified: Inside America's UFO Investigation. And it's Tom DeLonge.
Okay.
That I was trying to remember, that was with Blink-182. That kind of pulled this set of researchers together that are all former government employees that worked for these agencies. And they interview credible witnesses. Current and former Navy members that were witnesses to like some of these videotapes that are being released by the government. in a way that doesn't breach national security. So there's a lot of times where they'll be asking questions and the interviewee will be talking and talking and talking, and then all of a sudden they'll say, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. And full disclosure, I was in the Navy, and I could talk about some things, but I'm not going to talk about some things because I don't.
Because of national security.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah.
And I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I really like about this show is because they are really delving into the actual facts
Mm-hmm.
without making suppositions as to what's being hidden, and in a way that doesn't breach national security.
Mm-hmm.
Where I watch Ancient Aliens because they present historical facts that I might not have otherwise known, but they try to tie aliens to everything, which is just hilarious.
Yeah.
Two completely different takes on the same subject.
For those of you, just quick aside, humans are intelligent. They can figure out math. Humans have figured out basic math formulas needed to build the pyramids long ago in multiple different areas because it's universal.
Right, and that's just it. Is you can see that's one of the things that the Ancient Aliens goes into is how universal pyramid structures are, and you can find them everywhere, including China, and they are buried underwater. They're buried under the sands. You can see pyramidal structures in the forests of South America and China, and you can see pyramidal structures in Asia, or what used to be called Eurasia, where Russia and the Soviet bloc used to be. And there are some fun little facts that come up on Ancient Aliens that, you kind of twist your head and you're like, oh, well, that's something I didn't know about what was going on back then. But saying that everything is attributed to aliens is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And it gets... Watching Ancient Aliens gets really funny about the conspiracy theories and stuff. And I like listening to conspiracy theories, and I will follow some conspiracy theories. But that doesn't mean I believe every one that I hear.
Yeah.
And when I say aliens did it, aliens did everything, 9 times out of 10, I'm joking.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that show you're talking about, but it sounds like an interesting show where they try to explain things more rationally. Like, we were watching that YouTube video about the Battle of Los Angeles.
Yes.
And the guy didn't really necessarily debunk it, but went through possible explanations, weather balloon, and they saw a weather balloon. And what my theory that I first thought of when you told me about it, how they... When you said the anti-air defenses there in Los Angeles fired at something in 1942, and you said March 3rd, 1942, I said, well, they probably... either they thought they saw something...
It was February.
Well, February.
Was it February or March? It was
Regardless.
real early in 42.
Yeah, so it was right after Pearl Harbor, so it's like... Well, either A, they thought they saw something, or B, they saw something inconspicuous like a weather balloon, and they opened fire. One person opened fire, and then everyone else opened fire. Like, why is Jim Bob opening fire? I don't know. Fire.
Right. And it wasn't even the general command that gave
the order
to open fire. It was the flight control.
Yeah.
That gave the command to open fire. And here's the other thing, is I was looking at that picture, the undoctored picture, that came up, because the one that everybody sees from the original print in the newspaper was altered, which was common back in that day and age to alter the lighting or make it a little bit lighter, a little bit darker for newsprint reasons, because of the technology that they had when they were running the paper. Looking at the undoctored picture.
Yeah, we're talking about the evidence for the conspiracy theory that there was a UFO.
That it was a UFO
over Los Angeles in early 1942.
What I was seeing was a ball of light right where all of the spotlights converged, which could have been the light refracting in and on itself off the smoke from
the fire.
The
anti-aircraft fire
that our own side was firing, and there were little bright spots that everybody says are proof that it was aliens and UFOs. Well, those could be the actual
those were the shells.
Right, those were the shells going off, because in the next morning after this whole thing happened, all they found was shell debris.
Yeah.
They didn't find anything else except for the anti-aircraft shell debris.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at things like that from a more scientific perspective is, I think, a really good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I first heard about the Battle of Los Angeles from World War II on Ancient Aliens, and yeah, they tried to say it was aliens.
Yeah.
But this other video that we were watching really took a more scientific approach to it. But it's something you don't hear about.
Yeah.
And that's why I watch Ancient Aliens, because it's a lot of the facts. Like, I didn't know that there was this barrage of anti-aircraft that happened in Southern California in 1942.
Yeah.
It's not something that's taught in history. It's not something that's talked about. And one of the other things is, and I wish that we were doing this on video and I could show you a picture. But you can actually, during certain times of the year, there's twice a year where if you are above the Great Pyramid, looking down, when the sun comes up, you can see that it is 8-sided, not 4-sided. That there's a slight indentation on each of the 4 sides that actually make it 8-sided. And that's something I didn't know. And they actually showed the photographs.
Interesting.
The aerial photographs.
Well, I mean, it's built right along that, it is built on a ley line.
Ley line.
Yeah, ley line, yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I do watch Ancient Aliens for, and I do learn a lot of actual factual history from it, and then they try to tie it to aliens, which, again, as I've said, is absolutely hilarious, because, you know, aliens did it all. It's all the aliens' fault. And while we're on aliens, the ruling class, the ruling elite, the governments, the royal families, they're all reptilians. They're all lizard people.
Obviously.
They're lizard people working with the Illuminati and Hollywood to control us, and that's why they put things into our food, and we take so many drugs. And by the way, don't eat the turducken or anything with corn syrup.
I don't condone this theory. I'm just here.
Do not eat. If you are a fan of Supernatural, you understand. Do not eat the turducken ever. Ever.
I need to watch that.
Do not eat the turducken.
I need to watch that episode. I'm not as big a fan of Supernatural as you, but I have seen a few episodes, and it's a good show. It's just, now there's going to be 15 freaking seasons, and I'm just like, I don't have the time to commit to 15 seasons, people.
I'm actually on my way rewatching, because I stopped around season 7 a while back when I moved and didn't have cable for a while. And so while it's on Netflix, I'm binge watching, and I'm going to try and get through the 14 seasons on Netflix so that I can watch the last season on demand when it starts coming out the end of this year. like in September, I think August, September, whenever they're releasing the new season.
Yeah. Well, just as an aside, I think one of our kind of fun topics next week should be ghosts.
Yes! Let's talk about ghosts and the supernatural.
And spirits and stuff.
Though we should probably save that for October.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Save it for October.
But we will find... You have a fun topic you want us to talk about? Put it in the comments below.
Yeah. Well, any topic. Politics or...
Yeah, any topic you want us to cover. Tell us what you think. Give us your topic suggestions on what we should talk about.
Yeah. We'll talk about anything.
Almost.
Yes. I don't know if there's anything we won't talk about. I mean, we already covered some pretty controversial topics.
Right, but we won't talk about anything that forces you to break national security.
Yeah, that's true. I won't say anything about that.
And I don't know that I'm willing...
The thing is, like, there's things I probably could say, but I forgot what is and isn't classified, so I'm just not saying anything.
Which is the safe way to go. I totally get it.
Because it's been like 7-8 years since I've seen any of that shit. So it's
right.
Like, I don't remember. I remember some of it, but I don't remember anything.
And who knows what's been declassified or reclassified and whatever.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I don't know that I want to talk sex with you, Tony.
Oh. Well, that's kind of... Yeah, let's not talk sex.
Yeah. No.
No.
No offense. You're a good friend and all, but no. Not a topic that is comfortable.
Like we won't ever talk about my doesn't matter because there's nothing to talk about.
Right. Because we don't talk about it. So, give us something to talk about. Put your suggestions in the comments below. We do actually check those comments. We do read those comments. And I think that's everything for today. Like, I think I've made pretty much a big ass fool of myself today, so whatever.
Yep.
What do you think, Tony, if I made a big enough fool of myself today?
I don't think they're lizard people.
You don't believe in the reptilians?
I don't think they're lizard people. Now Mark Zuckerberg's a lizard person. That's been confirmed.
He's a reptilian. Yes.
He's the first of the reptilian people. He's putting out that conspiracy theory on social media and Facebook and all that stuff to get us used to so he can bring up his rest of his people to replace the elites. They're not lizard people yet, but he's the first, and he's going to replace everyone.
Oh, okay.
It's the frog in the boiling water.
I get it.
He's the first of the lizard people. That's what they're not telling you, man. He is the first lizard person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Now, since we've gotten that far, I think we should probably stop now because...
I'm on to you, Zuckerberg.
We don't want to upset the people that, run Facebook and YouTube and Google too much with our conspiracy theories. Because we are a small channel and we would like to grow big and strong one day. So please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you know when new videos go up. We are trying to put one up at least once a day.
It's gonna be 2 days again after today, at least for this. Yeah. For a while, I'm gonna do at least one other video a day myself talking about issues or whatever the hell I want to talk about.
Right, and when I start feeling better and things start to level out again, I will start doing my own individual videos as well. So watch for that.
No, that'd be good. That would give us about 3 videos a day, and it would give people different perspectives. Right. But you do that when you're ready.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we'll see.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Have a good afternoon, and we will see you later.